Civil War, the latest film from director Alex Garland, takes a bold swing at depicting a fractured America in a terrifyingly plausible future. The story abandons the well-trodden path of war heroes and military might, instead following a ragtag team of journalists embedded with a few paramilitary groups on a perilous journey to Washington, D.C. As they navigate a landscape ravaged by civil war, the film promises a desperate scramble for survival amidst the ruins of American society. While the concept of journalists chronicling the fall of civilization holds immense potential, the execution falls short in a few key areas. The most glaring misstep is the marketing. The trailers paint Civil War as an action-packed spectacle, filled with explosions and high-octane battles. This is a far cry from the film itself. Now don't get me wrong, there are great moments of action, but they are less present than the full-blown war sequences the movie advertised. The true focus here is on the journalists themselves, their struggles to maintain objectivity and grapple with the ethical tightrope of embedded reporting in a brutal conflict. The exploration of journalistic integrity in a war-torn world is a fascinating concept, but the characters themselves lack development. Apart from Kirsten Dunst, the rest feel like archetypes, and their interactions lack the emotional resonance needed to truly connect with the audience. The film's world building is another missed opportunity. The glimpses we see of this dystopian America are undeniably bleak, with abandoned cities and a palpable sense of societal collapse. However, the exploration of this world honestly feels shallow. We never get a full understanding of the events that led to this fracturing, or the different factions vying for power. This lack of context weakens the film's emotional core, leaving you with a sense of detachment from the characters' plight. The biggest head-scratcher, though, is the film's refusal to establish even a superficial understanding of the war's factions and motivations. We are thrown into the chaos alongside a team of war correspondents, forced to piece together the bigger picture from scraps of dialogue and fleeting news reports. While this approach might have aimed for a sense of immersive confusion or simply to avoid controversies of real-world topics, it ultimately leaves you adrift. There's a fine line between letting the audience glean information organically and leaving them utterly lost, and Civil War stumbles over that line. This lack of grounding makes it difficult to connect with the characters' struggles. There are some undeniably powerful action sequences and moments of heart-wrenching drama. The sound design in particular is phenomenal, transporting you right into the heart of the battlefield with a bone-jarring authenticity. But these moments are often isolated islands in a sea of slow pace. Entire scenes feel like they could have been cut without affecting the overall narrative, and the film often drags in a way that undercuts the urgency of the central conflict. One could argue that this slowness is intentional, meant to reflect the drudgery and monotony of war. However, it ends up testing your patience. Instead of offering a profound meditation on the human cost of conflict, Civil War feels like a slog through a muddy battlefield with no clear destination. The casting in this movie is great. Dunst, as a seasonal war journalist haunted by the brutality she's witnessed, is the emotional core of the film. Her portrayal of a woman desperately clinging to objectivity in the face of unspeakable horrors is both nuanced and heartbreaking. The supporting cast delivers solid performances with what they're given, and these performances add to the film's overall atmosphere to some extent, though I would say their characters feel one-dimensional, more like archetypes than fully realized people, which makes it difficult to truly connect with them on an emotional level. However, the film's message is where things get murky. There's a clear intention to deliver a powerful commentary, but it never quite lands. The brutality of war is undeniable. The devastations and desperate struggles for survival are constant visual reminders. The plight of civilians caught in the crossfire is certainly tragic, mirroring the human cost that often gets overshadowed in grand narratives of war. But Civil War feels like it wants to say something deeper, something about the nature of humanity in the face of extreme violence. But it never quite gets there. The film throws out various ideas, from the blurring lines between journalist and soldier and the addictive nature of violence, but doesn't fully explore any of them. And the film doesn't delve deeper than that. Is it a condemnation of war itself, or a stark illustration of humanity's descent into savagery when order crumbles? These are questions the film raises, but doesn't definitely answer. The horrors it depicts are a grim reality reflected in countless conflicts across the globe. But perhaps that's the point, that war's barbarity is so self-evident, so universally understood, that a deeper message feels redundant. Civil War is a film that sparks debate. On the surface, it boasts an intriguing premise. Instead of a traditional war epic, it dives into the perilous world of war correspondents, those who chronicle the brutality from the heart of the battlefield. Here, the focus isn't on grand battle plans or iconic generals, but on the raw experience of journalists like the stoic veteran Lee and her colleagues. There's potential here for sure. The constant threat of becoming another casualty, the struggle to capture the truth amidst the deafening chaos, and the psychological toll of witnessing such horrors. These are all elements that could have formed a powerful narrative. However, the movie stumbles in this aspect as well. While the film acknowledges the journalist's vulnerability, like a stray bullet that could silence them forever, it doesn't fully translate this constant threat into a palpable sense of dread. We see them dodge explosions and flying bullets, but the ever-present possibility of death feels strangely muted. The film doesn't quite capture the desperation that must come from knowing that your survival hinges on pure chance. This lack of urgency is what truly undermines the film's potential. You don't really feel the full weight of the danger these journalists face. Imagine the constant tension, the jumpy nerves, the ever-present awareness of mortality. Civil War brushes against these elements, but never truly dives in. This is particularly frustrating, because the film clearly has something to say. The journalists grapple with the ethics of their work, questioning whether their gruesome photographs truly serve a purpose, or simply exploit human suffering for public consumption. These are important questions, and the film deserves credit for tackling them. But these discussions get overshadowed by the film's failure to fully capture the harrowing reality of war correspondents. We end up with a movie that feels like a half-baked concept. The raw, visceral experience of being a journalist in the middle of a war zone. That's the story that could have truly resonated. Instead, Civil War feels like a missed opportunity. A film that teases greatness but ultimately fails to deliver. But despite these shortcomings, Civil War is not without its merits. The film's cinematography is exceptional, capturing the ravaged beauty of war-torn landscapes with a clear and cruel realism. And the film's action sequences are brutal and unflinching, a stark reminder of the true cost of war. The performances, particularly from Kirsten Dunst as the seasoned war correspondent, are solid, and the film's exploration of the blurred lines between journalism and propaganda in times of conflict is thought-provoking. Overall, Civil War isn't a bad film, but it's a frustrating one, to be honest. It possesses a brilliant central idea, but the execution feels timid, failing to capture the raw terror and moral complexities that should define the experience of a war correspondent. It feels like a film that played it safe, delivering a competent but forgettable experience, where a truly groundbreaking one could have existed. Therefore, for my final score, I would give it 5 out of 10. In the end, let me know, what did you all think of this movie? Were there certain aspects that stood out to you more, or did you feel that the overall experience was underwhelming? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and I would very much like to read what you have to say about it. And until I see you all in the next video, thank you very much for watching, have a splendid day, and peace out.